The Rock betrays John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins reunite to beat down CM Punk. Is Mandy Rose being erased from WWE history? The real reason behind Alexa Bliss's ongoing WWE absence? A surprising update on Rusev's WWE return? Why WWE can't book Bianca Belair versus Iyo Sky versus Rhea Ripley? Matt Hardy is making a surprising WWE main roster return sooner than expected. Kevin Owens' infuriating reason why he got into arguments with past WWE management. WWE instructed John Cena and Cody Rhodes not to mention The Rock's name. Let's dive right in. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins reunite to beat down CM Punk. This week, WWE SmackDown is hitting the O2 Arena in London, UK. Everyone's talking about it because Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk are locking in their triple threat match at WrestleMania 41 with a contract signing. Plus, LA Knight's putting his United States Championship on the line against Braun Strowman. Here are 5 wild things that could go down on SmackDown this week. Number 1. Nick Aldis kicks the new Bloodline out of the title match. Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman have been at each other's throats for months. Just last week, Strowman beat Fatu by disqualification after Solo Sikoa messed things up. With Fatu probably itching to get even, Nick Aldis might step in and say no to the whole Bloodline crew, Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa, and Jacob Fatu showing up at ringside. That way, LA Knight and Strowman can settle it fair and square. Number 2. LA Knight loses his title in a shocker. Titles have been flipping hands like crazy since Elimination Chamber 2025. LA Knight only just snagged the United States title from Shinsuke Nakamura not long ago. With WrestleMania season heating up and surprises everywhere, there's a real chance Braun Strowman could walk out with the belt. A sudden title switch like that would shake things up big time on SmackDown. Number 3. Damian Priest says he's hurt and out of WrestleMania. Last week, Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso took down Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura in a tag match. But after the bell, McIntyre went nuts and smashed Priest hard. That beatdown could lead to Priest coming out this week with bad news, like he's too banged up to fight at WrestleMania 41. It's not the most likely twist, but WWE could use it to make things even nastier between him and McIntyre. Number 4. Naomi calls in the Tonga twins to smash Jade Cargill. Words going around that the Tonga twins, Chaos and Kona, might sign with WWE soon and join the Bloodline story, just like Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa did. Naomi's in a tough spot right now, feuding with Jade Cargill, who'd probably win easy in a straight-up fight. So Naomi could bring in the twins as her muscle, forming a fierce female Bloodline crew. Together, they might jump Jade and leave her wrecked on SmackDown. Number 5. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins unite to take down CM Punk. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk are set to face off in a contract signing for their WrestleMania showdown. Lately, Punk's turning into the guy they both can't stand. Seth's got years of bad blood with him, and Punk's tight connection with Paul Heyman puts him on Roman's hit list too. This could spark a crazy moment where Roman and Seth team up, like a quick Shield throwback, and pound Punk into the mat. A move like that would get everyone hyped and make their triple threat match the talk of the town. Is Mandy Rose being erased from WWE history? Mandy Rose is mad, and she's not staying quiet about it. The ex-WWE star says the company's acting like she never did anything big. It all started when WWE posted online, cheering Stephanie Baker as NXT's first ever double champion. She won the NXT Women's Championship, while already holding the NXT Women's North American title. A fan on X fired back, saying WWE's wrong to ignore Mandy's past. She once mixed the NXT Women's Championship with the NXT UK top prize. Mandy shared that fan's post, thanking them and calling WWE pathetic for skipping over her moment. Truth is, her titles got blended into one, not held separate like Baker's, but it still hurts her to be left out. Mandy Rose was a huge deal in WWE. Everyone in the locker room loved her, and she ruled as NXT Women's Champion for over 400 days until her crazy exit in 2022. Before NXT, she teamed up with Sonya Deville on Raw and SmackDown. Sonya once told a story about a match they were set to have, a hair versus hair showdown. Mandy wasn't happy with the plan. She was supposed to lose even though she was the good guy. They took it to the bosses and got it changed so Sonya would lose instead. Mandy was kind of upset because she's like, I'm the baby face here and you've been kicking my ass the whole time. I saw her point, and we actually went and got the finish changed for me to lose. It was my decision. I went and got it changed. I took time off after that, storyline-wise, but also because of the stalker incident. That match never happened though. Sonya had to step away after a real-life stalker scare shook her up bad. Lately, Mandy went on Busted Open Radio and talked about wrestling again. She's doing awesome outside the ring and isn't itching to jump back in just yet, but she's not slamming the door shut either. The cards right now for me, I'm doing really well, and does it make sense for me to go back to wrestling? I don't know, and that's something I'm still unsure about. I've never hung up the boots and said I'm done. I'm still young. If it made sense, else, I would definitely consider it. She's happy where she's at, but might return if it feels right down the road. In that same chat, Mandy got real about WWE. She thinks they might not want her back and feels like they're brushing her under the rug. No one's called her about coming back since she left. I thought of that for sure. I don't know. Kinda like we mentioned, I don't know. I don't know if they look at me like they would accept me back. In a way, I don't know how they feel. I've never had a conversation, but I don't know. Do they think, I don't know, are they really offended with what happened? I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to be associated with me anymore in a sense because I feel like I'm a little bit erased in certain scenarios. Mandy got cut loose in 2022 after some spicy online stuff, and Sonya left in early 2025. Now everyone's wondering if these two will ever step back into WWE after spilling their guts like this. The real reason behind Alexa Bliss's ongoing WWE absence. Alexa Bliss has been off WWE TV since she lost at Elimination Chamber, even though she just came back from a 2-year break at the 2025 Royal Rumble. Everyone thought she was about to start a big story with Liv Morgan, but then she disappeared. Some figured it's because the Wyatt Six, a group she's tied to, couldn't come back yet. Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select cleared things up. Alexa isn't hurt, and she's not fighting with WWE. She's actually happy with them right now. She's just waiting for the creative team to figure out her next move. No one knows exactly when she'll show up again, but it won't be this week. WWE's in the UK for their European tour, and Alexa didn't make the trip from the US. It's weird to think they'd bring her back at the Royal Rumble with no plan for WrestleMania, but time's ticking. She could team up with the Wyatt Six and go after someone new when WWE's back in the States next week, though that'd leave little time to build a WrestleMania match. Here's the deal with the Wyatt Six. Bo Dallas, who plays Uncle Howdy, got hurt for a bit, but is now good to go. Still, the group hasn't wrestled at all in 2025, and Nikki Cross didn't even get in on the Royal Rumble action. Nobody's sure what's next for them, but people are hoping they'll pop up on TV soon. A surprising update on Rusev's WWE return. Miro, who used to go by Rusev, is out there as a free agent now, and everyone's wondering if he's heading back to WWE. A wild new twist just dropped about his possible return to the big wrestling stage. On the latest WrestleVotes radio on WrestleBinge, Joey Votes and TC spilled the tea. WWE's got real interest in signing Miro and bringing him back into the fold. This news hits hard because his split from AEW wasn't pretty, and WWE's roster is already packed to the brim. They don't exactly need him. Still, they want him, and it could be a sweet deal for both sides. Word is, nothing's happening fast. It might not lock in until late 2025, so he'll be chilling as a free agent for a while. It's got everyone curious about what Miro could bring if he steps back into WWE. Some say his best shot was under Vince McMahon, even with all the chaos back then. Back in the day, Miro's first WWE run had its highs and lows. The big problem? Vince didn't know what to do with him when he was on fire with that Rusev Day craze. Take WrestleMania 34. He was in a 4-way match for the United States Championship against Jinder Mahal, Randy Orton, and Bobby Roode. It could have been his moment to shine as a fan favorite. Instead, Jinder pinned him, only to drop the title to Jeff Hardy a week later. Creative was a mess then, no doubt. But even with the slip-ups like that weird Bobby Lashley and Lana story, Miro was always on TV. You could count on seeing him. Now, though, WWE's a different beast. The roster's stacked, and even guys Triple H loves, like Andrade, barely get screen time. He's hyped Baron Corbin too, but where's Corbin at? Nowhere on TV. If Miro comes back as Rusev, he's got to figure out how to break through. He could just cash the checks and coast like some others do, but that's not his style. He clashed with Tony Khan in AEW over creative control, and sat out long stretches with injuries. This time, he'll need to bring something big to stand out in WWE's crowded world. Why WWE can't book Bianca Belair versus Sky versus Rhea Ripley. Everyone thought WrestleMania 41 was getting a big triple threat match with Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Women's World Champion Sky. But WWE analyst Peter Rosenberg says that's off the table now. He dropped the bombshell on his Cheap Heat podcast after WWE set up a title match between Ripley and Sky for this Monday's Raw. Here's how it went down. Belair won the Women's Elimination Chamber this month, and then got in Ripley's way, messing up her shot at Sky's title on the next Raw. Ripley's been fighting to get into the WrestleMania title picture ever since. Last Monday, she demanded her rematch with Sky, and Adam Pearce made it official for this week, with Belair as the special guest ref. Whoever wins is facing Belair at WrestleMania. Rosenberg says there's no going back to a triple threat now. It'd feel off and let everyone down after this twist. I can't believe, I'm truly shocked. They announced that they're having another match next week. I'm truly shocked. I was sure the triple threat was it. I thought this was done. And to me now, guys, once you announce that they're having yet again another match, you can't now go back to a triple threat yet again. Like, it was so obvious it was going to be a triple threat that to then swerve us again and go back to a triple threat would be so weird to me and anticlimactic. They have to have a winner next week, and that's it. On that same podcast, Rosenberg spilled more tea. He thinks WWE was ready to turn Belair into a bad guy, but they hit pause because John Cena's going heel too. Instead, he's betting Belair flips after WrestleMania 41 and teams up with Naomi as a mean duo. My thought is, like, by the time we get to Backlash, SummerSlam, whatever it is, there's going to be a time where I think heel Bianca with heel Naomi walking behind her is like the thing. Now it's anyone's guess who Belair's facing for the Women's World Championship at WrestleMania 41, Sky or Ripley. It's going to be a wild ride finding out. Matt Hardy is making a surprising WWE main roster return sooner than expected. Matt Hardy and his brother Jeff have been lighting up NXT lately, even putting their TNA tag team titles on the line against NXT champs Fraxium and winning. Now, Matt's dropped a jaw-dropping hint about jumping back to WWE's main roster, and it's coming faster than expected. The Hardy Boys have been part of this cool TNA WWE crossover, showing up in NXT for the first time ever. Fans went wild for the legendary duo. No surprise there. In a chat with Shaq Wrestling, Matt teased something huge. Those TNA World Tag Team titles might not just hit Raw or SmackDown. They could land on a premium live event. I think there's a very strong possibility you end up seeing that before it's all said and done. Jeff chimed in too, saying their NXT run felt like destiny. He called it rewarding and fulfilling, feeling like he dreamed it into reality. He's convinced they're right where they belong, and when it comes to a main roster return, he said, anything is possible. If they pull this off, it'd be a massive shock and a game changer for the WWE TNA team-up. Matt's had a roller coaster ride in wrestling lately, and going back to TNA felt like finding solid ground, but he's got thoughts on his old boss, Tony Khan from AEW. On the Extreme Life podcast, Matt gave props to Tony for nailing pay-per-views, but said he drops the ball on weekly TV stories. One thing Tony Khan does great is provide wrestling pay-per-views that have absolutely amazing wrestling. I think he usually always hits home runs on those. I just think sometimes connecting the dots, TV to TV to TV, and story elements, I think sometimes that is maybe where the disconnect happens. Matt's take on Tony isn't black and white though. He's ripped AEW for wasting talent, said it drove him crazy, but he's also said Tony's way easier to talk to than Vince McMahon ever was. Things didn't click for him in AEW, but most fans don't see that as a knock on the company itself. Kevin Owens' infuriating reason why he got into arguments with past WWE management. Kevin Owens has seen it all in WWE, and he's not shy about saying how things have changed since 2022. In a recent sit-down with Adrian Hernandez from Unlikely, KO broke down the big switch from Vince McMahon's old-school ways to Triple H's new vibe. Back in the day, Vince was all about controlling every little thing, and people slammed him for treating fans like they couldn't think straight. That's exactly what drove Kevin nuts. He said he'd get into it with the old management because they thought fans wouldn't remember stuff from just 3 weeks back. To KO, that was a slap in the face to everyone watching. I had arguments with the people in charge before. No, this happened 3 weeks ago. They're going to remember. They said, no, they won't. Yes, they will. You're insulting their intelligence by pretending they won't. He didn't stop there. KO said Triple H is the total opposite. The new boss builds stories that stretch out and actually make sense, giving fans something better to sink their teeth into. Crazy to think that just a month after WrestleMania 41, Kevin will hit 10 years on the main roster, not even counting his quick NXT stint. He's been around forever, and him calling out the old crew means something big. He was one of Vince's favorites. Even without a pile of world titles, McMahon put him front and center as a bad guy early on, showing off how much he believed in KO's skills. Vince clearly liked him, but Kevin's keeping it honest, just like his WrestleMania 41 rival Randy Orton. Randy, who got more love from Vince than almost anyone except maybe John Cena, still said it was time for McMahon to bounce. WWE instructed John Cena and Cody Rhodes not to mention The Rock's name. Cody Rhodes and John Cena have gone face-to-face on Raw twice lately, but something big feels off. Wrestling old-timer Stevie Richards says their promos are missing a huge piece. Cena flipped to the dark side this year after winning the Men's Elimination Chamber, teaming up with The Rock to jump Cody at the big show. Over the last 2 weeks on Raw, Cena's talked up his new bad guy vibe, and Cody's fired back at his WrestleMania foe, but neither's dropped The Rock's name once. On the Stevie Richards show, the ex-hardcore champ pointed out the obvious hole. The Rock's nowhere in this story right now, and it's weird. What's the one thing that's glaringly missing this close to WrestleMania, especially with Cody vs. Cena? The Rock. Not even on the Titantron. Think about it. Has anybody even mentioned The Rock since Punk's promo about The Rock? It's almost as if they're telling them do not mention The Rock's name. Sure, he'll be there at the pay-per-view premium live event, event, but nobody, Richards kept digging. Fans are dying to know why Cena turned heel and what's up with him and The Rock, but if WWE keeps quiet for weeks, people might just stop caring. How did Rock get Cena to turn heel? Why did Cena turn heel? Cena already won the Elimination Chamber match. He already had his title shot. And they're like, well, that's why people are asking. Yeah, but after 5-6 weeks, no one's gonna ask. I'm sure they'll pick it up after WrestleMania, but why is Cena doing this? He already qualified for the title match at WrestleMania. So what is Rock offering Cena, and what is Cena offering Rock? And why is nobody mentioning The Rock? Why is The Rock not talking about this? That is the thing that's still glaringly missing and wrong with this entire angle. Over on Behind the Turnbuckle, the Last Word podcast, ex-WWE staffer Tommy Carlucci weighed in on Cena versus Rhodes too. He said WWE's keeping them apart physically until WrestleMania hits. They should never touch, coach. These guys should not have physical altercation, anything going on, not until WrestleMania. That story has to be told. They should not have physicality at all every time they go one-on-one. Guess we'll see if The Rock pops up in this mess before WrestleMania 41 rolls around. The Rock betrays John Cena. John Cena dropped a bombshell at Elimination Chamber 2025, teaming up with his old enemy The Rock and turning into a bad guy. Now he's set to take on Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania 41. But ex-Raw boss Eric Bischoff just threw out a wild twist. What if The Rock turns on Cena and they clash at SummerSlam? On the latest 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff podcast, someone asked if The Rock and Cena should square off again at this year's SummerSlam, happening at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, the same spot where they fought at WrestleMania 29. Bischoff didn't hold back on why it'd work. Of course, then what if The Rock beats Cena? He's got the title. Now we've got The Rock and Cody. Because of the story, you could keep both stories going on at the same time. You could be building anticipation. Eric's got a point. Rock betraying Cena could light up the summer and keep the Cody feud burning too.